How's everybody doing? Let me get my pad. I got nothing written down, but it's up here. What's going on? We are talking Eagles versus Cowboys as we sit right now. When we really break it, we really break it down. Eagles versus Cowboys. Now, we're going to touch on this again next week. We'll touch on it. What's up, Isaac? We're going to touch on Eagles versus Cowboys going into the season. I want to lock all the Eagles fans down as to who the Cowboys are. We already hear who you think the Eagles are, and that's fine. At least the people who watch my stuff, I want a consensus on where do you think the Cowboys are going into the season. Barring anything catastrophic on either team, I want to know what you think, because we can't have any revisionist history or oh this or oh that. So let's break it down. Okay, I'm going to tee it up nice and high for you. I'm going to tee it up. We're going to start out on the offensive side of the ball. Okay, offense. That's it. And I'm not down. I'm going. It's off the top of my head. We're going to go with quarterback, okay? QB. Dak versus Jalen. Now, listen, at the end of the day, we could have a discussion on who we think. Jalen had an MVP runner-up. Cowboys are third in the division this year. Eagles number 1 and Giants number 2. Don't agree, but you're entitled to your opinion. Dak versus Jalen. Jalen has had one unbelievably good year. Dak has had a good career leading up to it, but I'm not going to sit here and be such a homer that I'm going to pick Dak over Jalen. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, I expect Dak to have a bigger year than Jalen Hurts. I know the Eagle fans think that's ridiculous. Just wait and see. Numbers-wise, now we'll see about playoffs. I agree with you, Eagle fans, that it's all about the playoffs. What could you do in the playoffs? But I think Dak is going to have a year like he did 2 years ago, where he was runner-up, 35 touchdowns, 10 or 11 picks. What's up, Brooklyn Joe? And 45, just a few yards short of 4,500 yards. 35 touchdowns, please. 35. Jalen Hurts had 22 last year with 13 rushing, so they both ended up with 35. I think Dak had 3 or 4 rushing, but I'm not comparing the two. Two really good quarterbacks. I got to go Jalen Hurts this year. Jalen Hurts, what's up, Mike Aldana? If I'm being honest, Jalen Hurts, right now as we sit, now I'm telling you, I think Dak has a bigger year, but right now, got to go Jalen Hurts. Your quarterback edge lies with the Eagles. Now, we're starting on offense. Now, I'm going to go with the offensive line. Okay? I think we could all sit here and say that the Eagles have the best offensive line in the league. Okay? Eagles have the best offensive line in the league. We could argue all we want. It's a fact. So we're going to go Cowboys versus Eagles. Eagles. So we got O-line and we got quarterback. That's a big start, right? That's a big start. Running back. We're going to go running back now. We're going to stay in the backfield. RB. Right now, the Eagles have no running back on their team that could sniff Tony Pollard. Okay? That's a fact. You could say you like Swift or you like Gainwell. They haven't done what Pollard has done up until now, which is why they gave him the franchise tag. Pollard is healthy, not to mention Deuce Vaughn, Rico Dowdle. Sorry, Sorry, Eagles. Dallas wins the running back race. And that's me giving you the quarterback. I repeat, they're talking about Rashad Penny. Rashad Penny, what up, Lord Nova? What up, Linda? Rashad Penny will not, from what I'm hearing, make the Eagles team. If he does, he does, but he's not looking great. I like Swift. Swift is always injured. And I like Gainwell. Boston Scott, okay. But you have to give the running back room to the Cowboys. You just do. But that's me. This is my deal. I think that's fair. Okay, now we're going to go to tight end. Now, we can say more successful years. Pollard had a huge year last year that's Swift has not even to. So, but Swift is only one guy. So, if you ask anybody who would take, if you ask a GM in the league who they would take right now, one was franchised, one was traded for a low-round draft pick. Come on now. Dallas Goedert is the best tight end between both teams. Dallas has a deeper tight end unit. They just do. But in the sense of being fair, I'm going to give it to tight end based on one guy. But I think Jake Ferguson, it comes close to Goddard, and I think our other two guys are going to be good. I like our room better, but I'm going to give it to the Eagles. So this is kind of what I thought, and I'm going as I speak. Now we go to the wide receivers. I'm going to tell you right now that Dallas has a deeper wide receiver core. There's no doubt in my mind that when this year is done, they have a deeper wide receiver core. The CeeDee Lamb, if you said CD or AJ Brown, 9 out of 10 GMs based on age, explosiveness will go with CeeDee Lamb, but it don't stop there. You guys have Devontae Smith, who I think right now is better than anybody else that the Cowboys have. But after your top two, Quez Watkins, meh. But I'm going to give it to the Eagles in a close one. Eagles win again. To me, it's close, and I think by the end of the year, I think Cowboys Mafia is right. It's going to be CeeDee Lamb. Brandon Cooks is he's gonna explode this year. He's a walk-in 1,000-yard receiver wherever he's been. So Jalen Tolbert will pass Michael Gallup this year. The way Tolbert is playing now, people, he will pass Gallup. He may be wide receiver 3 before the end of the year. I personally like the thanks, Michael O'Dana. I personally like the Cowboys wide receivers all day and night over the guys with Philly. But before this season, as we sit now, I can't say it with a straight face. Blade Brown, I cannot, tell you that it's not me looking ahead. Just like I'm going to get to with your defensive line. Okay? So, the liberties that I'm giving you here, you need to give me those same liberties. Okay? So, this is where I have it. Jalen, slight over Dak. I believe Dak has a better year this year. Eagles O-line over the Cowboys O-line, not a question. Running back, I give it to the Cowboys. I like a Tony Pollard, but not as good. And those are the facts. Eagles tight end, I like the Cowboys tight end room better. But I have to be honest, Eagles win the tight end. And wide receiver. Eagles over the Cowboys with their top 2. I like the Cowboys wide receiver core. And I think that A.J. Brown is a type of receiver. He's young. bigger guy, gets hurt a lot. He dodged the injury bullet last year. So obviously I have the Eagles as the better offense. Now, before we get into the defense and special teams, I ask you, what could match up well against that offense? The Dallas defense, okay? It's really close. What's up, Ruben Walls? It's really close in a lot of these areas. But the bottom line is, as we sit today, Eagles are a better offense, okay? That's just it. And I think that was fair. Any Eagle that's watching this that doesn't say that that's fair, and I'm giving you a lot there, but I'm going to keep it 100. That's fair. Now let's go to the defensive side of the ball. Okay? We are going to go with defensive line. Now, when I say, listen, I think I want to go through the whole defensive line, but I don't care how we cut it, guys. I'm just going to, because I only have a half hour here, I'm going to keep it as the whole defensive line. Okay? I just am. That's not couching it. That's just what I want to do. If you guys don't like that, I could touch this on another video. We could break down ends versus tackles. Dallas Cowboys finished higher statistically, which I don't give two craps about, but that's all we got to go by last year, okay, than the Philadelphia Eagles. You had a lot of sacks, Blade. Yes, you did. That counts for something. You've lost 7 defensive starters, okay? You've replaced those 7 starters with a phenom rookie defensive tackle in Jalen Carter, and you have Jordan Davis, who I really like, that's only a 2-down player, okay? You have an aging Fletcher Cox, all right? An aging, did not look good in the preseason, but I'm not going to, that's just my opinion. Brandon Graham, the clutch Brandon Graham. You have the Texas defensive end, Barnett, who not a fan of at all. And you have a sack master that came from the Arizona Cardinals out of the University of Temple, Hassan Reddick. Love the player, fits in the scheme. You also have another rookie out of Georgia, defensive end. South Texas, trust me, we will revisit it. So I get what you're talking about, but Dallas Cowboys are the deepest defensive line in the league. Bottom line. They are going to go nuts this year. They were statistically better. They didn't lose anybody. They gained Mozzie Smith, whether you guys like it or not. Milton Williams is a young player. Yes, Linda. But if you were to ask 32 GMs in the league, 31 of them, not Howie, would publicly come out and say they'll take the Dallas defensive line. That's not me being a tough guy or being a Cowboy fan. We come in waves. There's nobody, and I'm not talking sacks, Blade. There's nobody on the Eagles defense who compares to Michael Parsons. I understand that Reddick had a lot of sacks last year, but you got to know that you had Javon Hargrave in there. You had Ndamukong Suh, who played surprisingly well, and he got a lot of those sacks late in the year. You had Linval Joseph. Those guys are gone. Your C.J. Gardner-Johnson, Pro Bowler, gone. Okay? But we will touch the secondary later. The Dallas Cowboys have the better defensive line. We have way more defensive ends. We got DeMarcus Lawrence. Plays the run great and is a beast, coming after the quarterback. Micah is the best defensive player in the league. Bottom line. The disruption that he causes, no other defensive player can cause. That may not mean a sack. That means pressures, disruption, forced fumbles, forced turnovers. You got Sam Williams, Mr. I can't stay out of trouble. We can say whatever he want. My man is ready for a breakout year. He's playing phenomenal in the preseason. He's not as good as Reddick, plays a different game than Reddick, but Sam Williams is just as good as any other defensive end you have on your team, not named Hassan Reddick. Okay? We have way deeper. We go 6 deep on the defensive edge. We just do. Josh Sweat, meh, he's okay. He's okay. Dante Fowler, another unbelievable pass rusher. And Dorrance Armstrong. I knew I'd get it. Not to mention the rookies that we got. Again, Linda, it's not just about sacks. It's what other GMs would actually want. Okay? So, you lost 7 starters on defense. I would take Linda, you would take the Dallas. Now that Hargrave is gone, I know you like your rookie, but we're talking about this year, Linda. We're not talking about what Jalen Carter could be going forward. Jalen Carter will not come in and dominate first-team offensive linemen down in and down out like Javon Hargrave did. He's not. I'm giving our defensive line the edge. And you could call me whatever. I was more than fair on the offense. You will see. This is something, if you don't agree, this is going to play out. So you got the Cowboys versus Eagles. DL. I'm going Cowboys all day. Eagles, you will come around to me. Jalen Carter is going to have the big-time career. I don't think it happens this year. I think he's above-average player this year. He's not Javon Hargrave. I know that, Willie. You know that, but I have to keep it 100. Now we're going to go to the linebacker core, okay? Linebacker core. There's no debate here, people. Dallas Cowboys are far and away better than linebackers. Eagles just went out and picked up 2 linebackers. One of them said he's retiring in Miles Jack, who I actually thought had something left. The other guy is old as dirt. He can make a lot of tackles. And then you have, down here, what's his name? Help me out. The little guy out of Georgia. I know you guys love him. I like TJ Edwards. I'm not saying he's bad, but if you had to pick a linebacker core, you'd go with Dallas's. You just would. You would go Nakobe Dean. Thank you, Stinky Fish. You were the man. I assume you're a guy. I don't think like a girl would be calling themselves Stinky Fish. You got to go Cowboys there. If you guys are keeping it real, as we sit here today, it could change, Linda and Eagles fans. It could change. But if you're sitting here today, just like I told you my opinions on Dak having a better year and my receiving core being better, as we sit here today, Philly D, you got to give it to the Cowboys. That would be the right thing to do. So, moving on to, we're going to go with, I'm going to split these 2 up. We're going to go with the secondary. But we're going to go with safety first. Again, you have Linda, what's his name? He's actually not a bad player. He makes good plays. He's young. Help me out with the safety. I watched him his career with the who's the safety I'm thinking about? Come on, Linda, help me out. Blankenship. Thanks, Philly D. Reed Blankenship. I like the kid. I do. But if you're going to grade it out, you lost C.J. Gardner-Johnson. Um, you have to go with the Cowboys safeties. I'm sorry, you have to. You just have to. I think, you know, that is being... I don't believe so, Linda. C.J. Gardner-Johnson is a ball hawk. He has to do it yet. You may think he's going to ultimately be better, but you can't say that exactly South Texas. He wouldn't make the Dallas's exactly. Thanks, Philly D. I appreciate it. Now, again, this is where we sit now, right? So, Cowboys. We're going to revisit this. This is fun. I just wanted to do something fun on my lunch to make it go by quick. I got about another 10 minutes and I got to roll. So that's why I'm moving fast. Yeah, he was a ball hawk, South Tex. It didn't matter. He was always around the ball, and that's what you want. Some guys just have a knack for that. He could be a jackass off the field or overvalue himself. Bottom line was, he was a ball hawk. All right, so I got Cowboys over the Eagles and safety. Okay, this next one is going to be controversial, and you Eagle fans aren't going to like it. But I'm holding my foot as a unit. I gave you the receivers. I gave you the receivers, knowing you only had two of them. Don't give me Quez Watkins. Don't do it. I'm taking the cornerbacks, and I'm not budging on it. You got the guy who, since he's come in the league, since Linda wants to bring up sacks as the end-all be-all in the defensive end, I give you interceptions. Nobody has more interceptions since he's laced up an NFL cleat than Trayvon Diggs, and you don't have a defensive player of the year playing cornerback. It's Gilmore, it's Diggs, South Tex just said it. It's Bland, who only played in 10 games last year. It's Bland, who had 5 INTs. It's, oh my God, we got Jordan Lewis back playing as an extra. He's getting ready to start practicing. And oh, by the way, we got Eric Scott, who's been with the Ones when the Ones weren't out there in training camp. And oh, by the way, we have, I know you have Avonte Maddox, little 5'5" Avonte Maddox. I like the guy. He's not, you are not as deep. And because I gave you the receivers, I'm not going to give you the D-backs. I'm not. That's my, and we can revisit this after the season and see how wrong or right I was. But Dallas is way deeper in the defensive secondary. You had James Bradbury, who was fighting for a contract. He was playing for a contract. James Bradbury has never been, other than his rookie year, that great. He was very good last year. He's got his big deal. And you have 32-year-old big play Slay, who they were going to let walk and brought back when they basically lost to C.J. Gardner-Johnson. Slay realized his market wasn't as big as he thought and signed a lesser deal back with the Eagles. Shout out to the Eagles for bringing back Slay, because if you didn't have Slay, there would be no argument. But I'm going with Dallas and the D-backs, and anybody that really knows that I'm right. I gave you receiver when maybe I shouldn't have. I'm taking D-backs. Last but not least, well, this is what I got so far. Listen, I'm not going to lie. These are, like, a lot of these categories are close. That the D-back is close. I think obviously D-line is close. The thing that isn't close is the Eagles' offensive line is better than the Dallas' offensive line. It just is. And I would say that's the only area that the Eagles are way better than than the Dallas Cowboys. And if you're looking at this list, you say, boom. Everything else is debatable, Philly and Linda. Everything else is debatable coming from my eyes. That's where I see it. Now let's go to the special teams, okay? Special teams. I would say you have the kicker, right? Ours is Philly D. He's old, but he's still, if you ask, Lane Johnson already said that DeMarcus Lawrence is one of the toughest guys that he's not way better than Dak. Numbers tell you that he's not. He hasn't beaten Dak head-to-head, stinky fish, but I will give you he is better than Dak. And I'm on record as saying I think Dak has a bigger year. You got to realize, Dak had a first-place schedule last year. Dak was coming off a broken thumb on the throwing hand that he had a pin in, okay? Dak missed 5 games, still came back. The only way that Dallas was going to win, because their offensive line was ass after the injuries, was throwing the ball. Sometimes ill-advised, with a repaired thumb with a screw in it. So, I know it's an excuse, but it's the truth. That's what we do here. We put the truth in the stuff. Special teams. Eagles have the kicker. That's it. You have the kicker. We have the returner. Our returner is a Pro Bowler. Yours is not. Our coverage teams are better. 100%. Our punter is a Pro Bowler. The Cowboys have the special team. You know, they own the special teams unit. If I had to kick a kicker, I would take your kicker. So we could separate the two, but the Cowboys have the better special teams. More Pro Bowlers are on the Cowboys. Now, I only bring this up, and I know you Eagle fans will say, well, okay, you got Jalen, you got Dak. You might say the running backs, that's wrong. The tight end I gave you. So I gave you 4 out of 5 categories on offense. I gave Dallas, since I combined the defensive line, okay, I think we're better in your defensive line anyway, and I think we're better at defensive end. We're more deeper. I took 4 for 4 on defense, and the special teams I gave a slight edge to Dallas. I wouldn't be upset if you said the Eagles. Either way, this is how close it is. Okay? After all that's said and done, before any games are played, the Eagles are the favorite to come out of the East yet again. They just are. Eagles are the favorite to come out of the East again. Now, we all know the rules. The rules are the same team don't win it back-to-back years. So who is it going to be? If not Dallas, is it going to be the Giants? Is it going to be the left-hand-up Commanders? I say no. Either way, it's a great debate that I want to touch on more. We will get into, because I know you, I mean, listen, you guys are stubborn. You want what you guys want. I want what I want. I thought I was fair, but we'll never know, right, Coyote, until the games are played. What I will tell you is that I want it next week, at the end of the week, I want it in stone, where non-Cowboy fans, or Cowboy fans, what you guys feel about the Cowboys going into the year. Because when we win our division this year, and when we go on to do what I think we're going to do, I want to know the excuses. Is it going to be that Dak had a great year? Is it going to be, well, the defense outshined it? Or are we that bad of a team that we're not going to make it? So if we do make it, it's got to be because of a reason. So Linda always gives Dallas credit. She thinks they're going to make the playoffs. I know. But I wanted to do this exercise just to let the Eagle fans know we are right there. You clearly have an advantage on offense. Have an advantage on defense, especially with all the losses that you have. The Eagles have a lot of potential going forward on the D-line. I will give you that. It's unbelievable potential, but it very rarely happens all at once with all these players as a rookie. That's fair. Normally, players like a James Bradbury who gets a big contract that's older tails off. We'll see what Diggs does with his contract. I can't just ignore that, but he's a young player, very young player. He came out early. So Gilmore is going to be Gilmore. Is he going to be the defensive player of the year, Gilmore? No. But he's going to match himself up against every number one wideout if they line up against him. And he sure as heck could take any number two. So I would just say with the Dan Quinn, you know what you're going to get, Philly D, with Dan Quinn. Dan Quinn's already come out and said he has a number one defense. If you could say anything about Dan Quinn, you can say whatever you want. He is as a head coach, but as a coordinator, there's not many of them better than him. And the Eagles have a new offensive coordinator and a new defensive coordinator. These are the facts. Now, watching last night's game, I really like the offensive coordinator that the Eagles have. I like Brian Johnson. But it's yet to be determined how he's going to do when teams game plan against Jalen Hurts this year. It has to play out. Advantage Cowboys. It just is. It's an advantage. Mike McCarthy, you can say whatever you want. He has a Super Bowl ring. He has a Super Bowl ring as a head coach who calls the plays. Whether him and A-Rod didn't get along, whatever, Aaron Rodgers hasn't won another Super Bowl without him. So that being said, that's my time. I went 32 minutes. I love you, Eagle fans. I love you, the Cowboy fans. Rip me in the comments if you will. I will get back to you. Stay tuned. Don't forget, I'm going to try and do a live tomorrow. I am working, but I also am... Me and Primetime, my partner, on Primetime Phil, are going to be streaming during the Cowboy game tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. Make sure you check us out on Primetime Phil with all the bells and whistles brought to you by Primetime Studios, Brooklyn Joe, Ruben, Linda, Philly D, Mike Aldana, Tex. Thank you so much. I'll check you all out.